basically we started off as a bedroom company doing website design and other, small programming jobs for people. We got a chance to do a contract for a company out of New Jersey called Bingwa Software that was trying to write code for both the Mac and the PC to do mathematics instruction for children. So it's basically a computer-based training.
Was there an entrepreneurial moment for you where you were like, where it transitioned from being, here's what I'm doing sort of to get by, and then it got bigger and it's like, here's what we're entrepreneurs.
Well, I think the light bulb went off in '98 when I had written a program at the agency I was supporting, an intel agency, and some people came to my office and said, we know that you wrote this program that does automatic monthly report generators, and we want to do the same thing in our office. Can you tell us how to get started? And within the first 30 seconds of talking to them, I realized that neither one of these people were technical. They had no idea what I was telling them, and the light bulb went off and they said, you could just hire me and I could come in under my own company and write it for you. And that's really how, in '98, we really got started as a company that made enough revenue that we could support ourselves. But me and my partner always had that entrepreneurial desire. We thought that working for someone would only take us so far, glass ceiling, no deal, and we knew we wanted to go higher than that. So we figured that at some point we had to do it for ourselves and make the glass ceiling higher or disappear.
To a point, that's a very common story. What takes it beyond is that you actually took the plunge.
If you knew what it was going to take to be a parent, no one would ever go out and get pregnant, right? So the same thing with having a company. If you knew what it was going to take, you wouldn't do it. But at the same time, I think we were young enough, naive enough, and we felt like we were smart enough. My partner and I both met while we were going to school at Stanford, and we felt like, okay, so supposedly we have the intelligence to do this, so let's go do it. And as you go along, you learn what you need to get by, and you decide either you're going to keep doing it or you'll go back to working for someone else, which is the easy out.
Funding is always, a big issue for entrepreneurs, early stage funding. What were your experiences there, and what did you learn?
We've never had issues with money. We don't owe anybody any money. And you go to biz school and they tell you, never use your own money if you can help it. Always use someone else's money. Well, we didn't follow that advice. We've always used our own money, and it was very little of it that we used. Perhaps we would be larger if we used someone else's money. Perhaps one day we will. But we've done well enough bootstrapping a company.
Do you think there's too much talk or discussion about that?
To me, in our field, having capital to get started is a little dangerous because you start off in the red, right? Whereas the way we started off in the black. We built up our bill rates based on what all our expenses were, including what we had to pay people. And we know that for every hour worked, there will be a profit of a certain amount.
How much, difficulty was it to even come to a price point and stick with it and say, this is what makes sense? Not only what makes sense, but this is what we have to have.
It was difficult at first because when we were young and we got that first contract, we were subbing to Lockheed Martin, and they came to us and they said, what is your bill rate? And we said, how about X dollars an hour? And they said, okay, show us how much of that is what you're paying yourself and how much of it is your G&A and everything else. And we were like, oh, we don't want to be too greedy, so we're going to pay ourselves like half of that bill rate. And they came back and said, okay, here's your new bill rate, and it's significantly less than what you originally told us. And that taught us a very valuable lesson. They didn't really care what our bill rate was, as long as it was within their numbers. They just cared that we weren't taking an exorbitant amount of profit. Had I paid myself a lot more, I'd have been happier, they'd have been happier, the government would have been happier.
How do you find the right people? How do you find the people that are so closely aligned as you and your partner are? I mean, they can't be as invested as you are, but they still have to deliver at that same level.
You've got to not only say that your people are your most important asset, you've got to make your people know that they're the most important asset. And what we've done with our company is we've concentrated for years on improving our benefit package, what we do for our people. We do an annual corporate trip every year. We've done 7 of them now. We went to Aruba this year with the company, and we try to have that family feel. You have to keep reminding your employees of what is the most important aspects of your business. And for us, it is being able to give back to the community, being able to make a positive difference in the lives of our employees and in the lives of our clients and our customers and our communities. If we create a company that people want to work for, that's going to attract the talent and attract the people that we want working for our business. The reason why we started a business is because ultimately we wanted to be able to have the final say over things. Not only what we're doing, but the final say also over how the profit from what we do is spent. As a company, we give 10% of our net profit annually to charity, and we spread it across many different charities. And people connect to why you do what you do. There's probably 1,000 companies out there that could say they have the same competencies that we have. So how we differentiate ourselves is what we do with our profits, how we take care of our people.
On a practical day-to-day standpoint, are there parts of the business that you feel, I don't mean that you don't have to pay attention to, but you're confident with, you can let go of, and then there's other things that really you feel demand your daily attention?
I actually empower people. If I tell you, hey, you're the CFO, do the numbers, I trust you to do the numbers. Yes, I want to see the reports, and yes, I'll ask questions if I don't understand it, but at the end of the day, that's your job and you better do it. My partner and I are very good in the sense that I'm more of the big picture visionary, let's go out and take risk kind of guy, and he's more of the, okay, really, what do we want to do? If we do this, that means X, Y, Z, and we look at it together and we decide. And actually, I've got an executive staff of 4 of us, and we meet once a week, and all of us have different personalities, and we don't always come to a consensus on things, but we usually do. And like we've learned earlier today, you might not agree with everything, but you got to commit to whatever we decide on. And everyone is heard, everyone gets to express their opinion, and at the end of the day, we pick a path and we roll down it.
How do we just increase the number of entrepreneurs? How do we make them more successful? And how do they grow?
Well, I think entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs long before they become entrepreneurs. It's a personality trait. It's something inside of you that says, this is what I want to do. And it's not easy, so if you don't have that, you're not going to do it. I think education, obviously the Kauffman Foundation, we watched the film last night about venture capitals, and it talked about the different people that started these large companies and the missing ingredients that the venture capitalists could put together. Like for Apple, okay, they needed a manager, and until they had the person that could come in and be the day-to-day operations, you didn't have any control around the technical geniuses. Every company is going to have accountability at some point. So my advice is, if you're thinking about being your own business person and starting your own company, find a partner, find an accountability partner, someone that balances with you, someone that can say to you, hey, your idea sucks, that's not smart. And at the same time can say, yeah, I think that can work, let's do it. And if you get somebody like that on your team, and I was lucky enough to have that early on, we balance each other. He doesn't let me go down the wrong path too long, and I don't let him be conservative too long.
How do you stay on, keep your edge, keep innovative, come up with new ideas?
It's being able to meet with different people in conferences like this, as well as any other networking events that you go to, gives an extrovert like me the infusion of, hey, wow, yeah, we do really need to get back at that. We do really need to iron home or hammer home the idea that we started this business to make a difference.